السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. So today we continue, inshallah, the story of Prophet Musa. We'll do a quick recap of what we talked about last, and then we'll continue our new segment, inshallah, of today. So Prophet Musa, we said that he was born in Egypt, and the circumstances of him being born in a city or in a country that was led by the Pharaoh, who was a tyrant man who had enslaved the family of Prophet Yusuf. Remember Prophet Yusuf and his 11 brothers who lived in Egypt, and Prophet Yusuf was a minister at the time. So now their children had children, so they became a whole tribe, a whole family, an entire, big generation. Now they are still in Egypt, but this Pharaoh have taken them as slaves, right? Mistreating them and treating them badly and stuff. So anyway, making them work for him and so on. And this Pharaoh have, made the people worship him as their God, right? So he would sell himself as their Lord, right? So he made the people worship him, which is, of course, disbelief. And when the Pharaoh saw a dream that his city was, or his country was being destroyed, and he asked the people of knowledge in his country to try to interpret that dream, and they told him that there is a young man who will be the cause of the destruction of your kingdom. So, and he will be born this year. So the Pharaoh takes a decision to take every boy that was born on this year and have them all killed. So they ripped away from the mothers and they were all killed. In this year, Prophet Musa's mother was pregnant, but she kept her pregnancy hidden from the people until she gave birth, and then she takes Prophet Musa, and then she finally gets inspired by Allah to put him in a river, as we mentioned, or to put him in the water, and that's how he can be saved. She sent his sister after him to watch over him. Where is he going to end up? So Prophet Musa ends up coming to the castle of the Pharaoh and being picked up by the wife of the Pharaoh, and the wife of the Pharaoh liked him and she wanted to keep him as a child. She speaks with the Pharaoh agrees. Prophet Musa grows up in their household. Prophet Musa at this time now as a baby still, he needs to be breastfed. They start to look for someone to breastfeed him. So the young sister of Prophet Musa, she tells him about a person, because they try first with other ladies to breastfeed Prophet Musa, but he would not drink from any of them until the sister of Prophet Musa suggested a person that she knows, which is her mother, the mother of Prophet Musa. And then when they go and get her, she breastfeeds Prophet Musa. He does feel calm and he does drink from her, which is the promise of Allah, because he told him that I'm going to return him back to you, and he does return him back to her, and he lives a great life, obviously in the castle of the Pharaoh and so on, being treated like a son. So anyway, so Prophet Prophet Musa is going to be growing up now in the household of the Pharaoh, and when he grows up here, Prophet Musa is going to be, it's growing up to be a young man, a smart man, strong man. He learns different things, of course, being with all the resources available to him by the Pharaoh, until one day Prophet Musa is walking in the city and he finds two people fighting. One of them from the children of Prophet Yaqub, and the other one is from the people of the city, the Egyptians. So he was hurting this guy as they're fighting, and he was transgressing against him. So Prophet Musa tried to stop the fight and try to stop this guy that was transgressing, and he ended up shoving him, hurting him, he ends up dead, right? So it strikes him and this man ends up dead, but Prophet Musa did not intend for this person to die. So anyway, Prophet Musa repenting to Allah, asking Allah to forgive him. At this time, the people start talking in the city, discover that Prophet Musa did it. So then people are coming after Prophet Musa. Prophet Musa is given advice by a man to leave the city because they're looking for him. So Prophet Musa ends up fleeing the city, and he's traveling through the desert. So Prophet Musa, as he's going, traveling in the desert, he ends up going to another city, okay, and a city called Median. When he goes to that city, gets very tired, of course, from all the walking he had to do, sitting under the tree, feeling very tired. He sees two women standing near a well there. So Prophet Musa asks them, "What do you need? What is it that you need?" So they tell him that we're trying to get water, but we're unable to go get it because there's a lot of people standing by the well trying to get water, and we're not going to go until these people are gone. So Prophet Musa comes, he helps them, he gets them the water. They go back home to their father, their old father. The father asked one of them to go get Prophet Musa so he can thank him for what he had done for his daughters. So Prophet Musa goes back with them. The man thanks Prophet Musa for what he had done, and asks him to offers him to marry one of his two daughters, and if he marries one of them, he get to he would work for him for 7 years, right? So marries one of the daughters, and he get to work for the father for 7 years. Um, I'm sorry, 8 years, and if he wants to complete 10 years, that would be extra from him. And Prophet Musa does end up working for him, and he completes the longer term, which is the whole 10 years. So after the 10 years were up, Prophet Musa took his family, and then he wants to return back to his country, which is Egypt now. Okay, as he's going back, he finds a fire. So he goes to this fire, and he hears a voice talking to him, and this voice was Allah Himself telling him, "Take off your shoes. You are in a secret valley, okay, of Tuwa, okay." And he speaks to him, and he wants him to go out and call the Pharaoh back to Islam because the Pharaoh had transgressed. So the Prophet Musa does agree, of course, but he's hesitant. He's afraid. He's like, how am I going to speak with him and stuff? So Allah told him, "Don't worry, I'll be with you." And then he told Prophet Musa, "Throw your stick. I'm going to show you something." And then he finds that his stick turns into a serpent, into a snake. And he tells him, "Take out your hand," and his hand was shining light. And then Prophet Musa continues on his journey. That's where we left on last time, where the conversation with Allah. Now Prophet Musa carries on, and he makes it back to Egypt. Okay, and he meets first because he made a request to Allah, "Let me have my brother Musa with me. I'm sorry, my brother Harun with me, so he can help me and aid me and assist me, so I'm not alone. Give me support." So Allah agreed. So Allah agreed that Prophet Harun would also be a prophet alongside with Prophet Musa. So they're both now together. So Prophet Musa, after he enters Egypt, he goes to his brother Harun. He tells him about what the mission that they're on, and he takes him, and they both go together to the Pharaoh. When they go to the Pharaoh, they try to speak to him, try to reason with him, tell him that Allah had sent me, right? The creator of the heavens and the earth wants you to return back, and to not claim that you are a god anymore. Okay, this is Allah now speaking with you, like Allah is sending me to you. So Prophet Musa, of course, does not take him serious and does not like anything he's saying. So Prophet Musa, he throws his stick, the sign that Allah had given him, the miracle Allah had given him, and his stick turns into a snake. When his stick turns into a snake, Prophet Musa now is going to the Pharaoh tells him, "Oh, you think you're going to you can do magic? Is that why you're happy, like that you can do magic? I'm going to bring all the magicians, that we have in here in Egypt, and they're gonna face you and then show you that you have nothing, basically, right? That this is not a miracle or anything special." So he gathers the people on a special holiday, and they all come, and the magicians come. He invites the magicians and brings all of them from all around his kingdom, And now Prophet Harun and Prophet Musa are standing, and Prophet Musa is about to do what Allah told him, which is to prove to these people that he is sent by Allah. So the Prophet Musa asked them, throw your sticks, because each one of these guys, they have sticks, they have ropes, right? So their sticks and the ropes turn into these different snakes, okay? But these were not real snakes. This was magic in terms of like they're basically just fooling people's eyes. But this is not real snakes. These ropes and these sticks don't turn into real snakes. So Prophet Musa threw his stick. His stick does not turn into like just one of these fake snakes. His stick turns into a real snake, and that snake start to eat up all of these other fake snakes that were there, right? At this site, when they saw this, the magicians fell on the ground, right, saying, "We believe in the Lord of Musa, right? We believe in the Lord of Musa." They disbelieved in the Pharaoh right away. They said, "We believe." That's it. Okay, so that's the situation here. That's the situation here with these magicians. They accept Islam right away. They testify to the oneness of Allah. Now the Pharaoh obviously seeing this, and obviously this has influenced other people to accept Islam right away, because this was a clear proof the Prophet Musa is sent by the God, the one who made everything, not the Pharaoh, right? So at this site, the Pharaoh became extremely angry because all of this worked in the benefit to Prophet Musa, not to him, right? As if he was advertising for Prophet Musa. So at this time, he's telling these magicians, "How could you accept his religion before I give you permission? What's the matter with you with such a thing? How dare you do such a thing?" And then he told them that he threatened them. He said, "I'm going to cut your hands and legs off. I'm going to kill all of you." And they said to him, "We're not going to disbelieve in Allah. We believe in Allah. We submit ourselves to him. You could do whatever you want to do, but we're not going to disbelieve in him. We believe in the Lord of Musa." Anyway, the Pharaoh sent out his soldiers to start torturing everybody that believed with Prophet Musa. Anyone that associate with him, specifically the children of Israel, all of them are being tortured, are being beaten, and being hurt. Okay, the women are being attacked. So things becomes extremely difficult on the followers of Prophet Musa, specifically the children of Prophet Yaqub, remember, from the descendants of the brothers of Prophet Yusuf. So things become very hard that the Prophet Musa is making dua and asking Allah. Obviously, Prophet Musa sees what's happening, but he can't really do anything for them. So Allah tells him, go to the Pharaoh, right, and give him this ultimatum. He either gives you the children of Israel, or there will be consequences. Well, he has to pay for this. So Prophet Musa goes to the Pharaoh and asks him, like, give me the children of Israel with me, the children of Prophet Yaqub, let me have them, the believers, the people who have believed with me, okay, and let me have them, or there will be consequences. Allah is going to send his punishment upon you. So the Pharaoh does not care, and he doesn't send them. So that brings the drought, right? They start to have no water. So that causes obviously the plant to start dying, the animal starts to die. And when this happened, this is a sign of Allah happening now, that all of these creatures are dying. He returns back to the Pharaoh asking him, because people start to go to Prophet Musa, ask him, please help us and stuff, because the Pharaoh did not care. So the Prophet Musa pleaded to Allah, and then everything is returned back. He goes to the Pharaoh again, asks him to give him the children of Israel. He says no. So then Allah sends a flood upon them, and this flood, drowning things and stuff. And people go to Prophet Musa again, asking him, please, help us, ask Allah to help us. So Prophet Musa agrees, and Allah lifts the calamity, and the water goes away. And some of these people, they promise they're gonna let the children of Israel, they make a promise that they're gonna give the children of Israel, but they would break the promise. Allah sent locusts on the people that ate the crops, that were harassing people in the whole city. Like an entire plague of locusts all over the city as a form of punishment. And Prophet Musa makes dua after the ask and promise that they're going to let the children of Israel. Then they continue to break their promise again. So the locusts would go away. Then after they made the promise, then Allah sends the hail upon them. Again, destruction, more punishment. And you see so many punishments, so many evidences, so many proof that this is from Allah, but nobody's stopping. Nobody's stopping what they're doing. Then Allah sent upon them the frogs, again in multitude, all over the city. Frogs are all over the city, roaming all over the city as a form of punishment again. So people ask Prophet Musa for, again, help again. So Prophet Musa makes dua again, and then he asks the Pharaoh to give the children of Israel. He refuses, continues on and on until the final punishment that was given to them, which was their water turning into blood, right? Another form of punishment. The water turned into blood, right? And again, this caused people difficulty. They asked Prophet Musa. So many signs were sent to them. So many signs were sent to the Pharaoh that proves that this is from Allah. Like, what are you doing? Stop. But they did not stop. Okay, let's pause here, inshallah. Prophet Musa makes the dua to Allah to lift up this calamity, and it's lifted. Now, let's talk about some of the lessons, some of the things that we learn from here. Well, some of the things that we see here with Prophet Musa is his trust in Allah, right? Him going to the Pharaoh with his brother, right? Complete trust in Allah. Prophet Musa had killed somebody. Prophet Musa doesn't have anything with him. It's only him and his brother, two people, versus like a tyrant man that has no problem killing innocent children, women, anybody. But Prophet Musa does not care about any of that. He believes in Allah. He trusts in Allah. He goes there. He has no problem doing what Allah had commanded him to do, right? He believes that if he threw the stick, the stick will turn into a snake. That's trust in Allah. That's belief in Allah. That's Prophet Musa, right? We also see here that the situation with the magician. When they found the truth, they were completely in submission of it. And we can learn something from this, because we need to be like that. You know, once they found the truth, they completely submitted. The Pharaoh said, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to cut your hands and legs. I'm going to destroy you guys. He said, that's it. We're done. We found the truth. You do anything you want to us. We don't care. We're not going to leave it. They are holding on tight, even though like it doesn't seem like Prophet Musa gave him a lot of details about about what Allah wants from them and their religion or anything. But yet they had complete conviction, because they obviously know, like, from that stick situation turning into a real snake, they realize it's not a magician. This is real miracle from Allah, and they realize this is they have to follow this, right? So they did not hesitate to follow the truth. So we need to be like that. We find the truth, or anything that we're looking at two things, but one of them is the right thing. We discover that this is the right thing. We leave whatever we're doing or whatever we like, our preference, and we do whatever it is that is the truth, just like these magicians here. Also, we see that the testing that the believers are always going through. You see how the believers are being treated? The believers are the big group or the small group in the city. They are the small group. They're not the big group. What's happening to them? Being called names, they're being hurt, they're being harassed. Is that happening to Muslims today? It's happening. Because some people think this is a new thing. It didn't happen before. That's very wrong. That's something happened all along. Since the beginning of time, like since Allah sent the prophets, this had always been the case. The believers become the small group. They are prosecuted by the big group, okay? Being called names and lunatics and crazy and stuff, like people think they're weird. That's all normal. That all had happened all along. That's been happening, right? We see here the patience of Prophet Musa, going back and forth with this Pharaoh, and just taking his time, being patient with him, even though this man breaks every promise of his. He's still Prophet Musa does his best, and that's the way of the prophets. The prophets are patient. The prophets are patient. So Prophet ﷺ told us that every prophet have been a shepherd before they become prophet. Why? So they can because they all need to be trained on patience. To deal with sheep, you need patience. That's one of the reasons. So, and all of the prophets obviously have patience. They must have patience in order to deal with all of the difficulties they have to go through as prophets. Also, we see here that all of the signs that Allah had given the Pharaoh, he didn't believe in anything. He still didn't believe in Allah. He didn't submit yet. Some people think you only need a miracle for people to believe. Like if you were to show the people of today a miracle from Allah, they will all believe, and you're wrong. You're very wrong. Allah had sent miracles all along, supernatural things, and people still didn't believe. They still didn't believe. People want to follow the desire, right? They want to hold on to this world. They want to be arrogant, just like the Pharaoh is, right? Isn't that clear? This from Allah. If you were in this city, you see the locusts, you see the frogs, you see the water turning into blood, you see the flood, you see the famine, all of this stuff happening back to back to back to back. And Prophet Musa is in the middle telling you about Allah and telling you about the religion. Isn't that crystal clear that this is from Allah? It is. But did it stop them? It didn't. It didn't. That's why this is a wrong idea that we're having, that people only need to know a couple of things or need proof. If only Allah would descend an angel, if only Allah would descend this, people will all believe. They wouldn't. They wouldn't. And Allah knows the people best. Allah knows the people best. Right? All right, inshallah, we'll pause here. We continue the next segment of the story next time. Subhanakallah.